this. And we are back, Brian. What you smiling for? The Cowboys got whooped out here, man. It ain't nothing,
I'm smiling for you. I'm smiling for you. I thought for a minute there they had the 12th overall pick, and then all of a sudden Indianapolis got a strength of schedule deal on you there. So now you're the 13th pick. I was thinking about you, bro. It's a quality loss for you. Quality loss for you.
I think
the big scheme of things.
I think if the Colts win next week, then it'll just even all out. And San Francisco gotta win one game. So that's looking like Arizona next week, but they playing against the Lions this Monday. So
the Lions are playing for a lot of stuff.
That crap ain't happening. So Brian, man, it's rough out here, man. We trying to get number 11. And me and you will talk draft because we have to make a new big six. You know, my first big six will be long gone now. Now my new big six got like Kelvin Banks in there, like Malachi Starks is in my new big six. But we'll talk about that later on, Bryan Broaddus. Right now,
by the way, can I ask you? Okay, can I throw something? I know this is a Cowboy post game, and I know we're going to have time. You and I getting back on schedule this week for our normal shows. And thanks everybody. Hope everybody had a happy holiday out there. Our Ole Miss defensive end,
Princely Human Yelling. Okay.
One scout that does the Southeast.
What do you say?
Throw me. You know, he did a split round thing is what he did. He gave split round.
He on the fence.
He gave split like the old Dane Brugler.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a 1-2. He's a 2-3. What do you think my scout buddy gave him?
There's no way. There's no way he gave him 2-3. Less than that?
Gave him 2-3.
Oh, 2-3. Okay, 2-3.
I was like, but you're just throwing it right out there and just hammering it.
I guess late second possibly. If he's not going to play versus the run, late second, I can see why that person would say that. I can see why.
Gosh, you're having my conversation with the guy right now.
I mean, I'm taking him high second if I can, but I can see why somebody else would take him late second, early 3 or whatever. But I'm glad that your friends.
Hey, I'm doing the work out there for you, man. 2-3. That's what he said. He goes probably go late second, maybe early third. Right now with just off the tape is what he had.
That's higher than 4. That's way higher than 4. But
hey, man, I told you this.
What you say?
I told you this. I circled back and I said, hey, I got some more tape.
But you ain't tell them that though. But you ain't tell them that. You called me, but you ain't tell them that. You got to tell the people if you're gonna do it right here, bro.
I just did.
Well, now you just did.
I got more tape.
Yeah.
I think I put him in the third.
I put him in the third. I'm gonna be raising my voice at you a lot, bro.
You and a professional scout.
I'm sorry. What's that? Me and a what, Brian?
You and a professional scout. By the way, this team is really good that my scout buddy does this for. Okay, this team knows how to pick players. Not the Cowboys, obviously. It's just another team.
Some other team that just know what they talking about.
Another team knows what they're talking about.
Them and Voch on the same page.
Hey, you. Congratulations.
Y'all can't hold me.
Hey, enjoy this time. This is the only damn time you're going to be right about a player.
DallasCowboys.com can't hold me, Brian. Y'all better come out. You better pull yourself up by your bootstraps. All right. But man, Bryan Broaddus, boy, let's talk about this game, man. We got all week to talk draft. I don't even know we're gonna.
Hey, by the way, you think this thing's pretty cool? I got one.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
I got the patch.
That's John Madden when he passed
the Turkey Day patch.
Yeah.
I got one. Yeah.
Man, I ain't gonna say who you had to talk to get one of them, but that's what Brian got me. Hey, shouts out to you, Brian. That's.
Thank you, man. I just got it. I was pretty proud about that. That's gonna look good. Should I put it on a hat or should I put it on a vest? What should I put it on?
I'm gonna put it on a backpack. I'm gonna put it on a bulletproof vest or something. That's gonna be valuable one day, Bryan Broaddus.
Yeah, cool deal.
All
right, bro. Yeah, it wasn't a good day at the ball yard for Dallas Cowboys. Good day for the folks that want them to draft. Bad day if you're hating the Philadelphia Eagles and trying to build a little momentum going into 2025.
Mr. Broaddus, I take opportunities like this to try to fire a head coach. You always say that you try to get Jason Garrett fired.
I did. I made it personal for 3 years. I made it personal.
But Brian, when I hear that, man, as a fan of yours, I'm like, man, what he had against Jason? Like, I dislike Jason a little bit, but you try to get. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But man, Brian, boy, we just can't win a game versus a good team, can we? We just.
Tampa's a good team.
Tampa's
a good team. Man, Tampa might win the South.
They got guys hurt, Bryan Broaddus. That don't count. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these real.
I had Cincinnati on the ropes until the guy you wanted to fire decided to stop running the ball.
Cincinnati going to be drafting right next to us. I'm talking about these contending teams that we got to deal with.
Oh, no, you can't.
Lions, 49ers.
Not running Booth out there at corner. No.
So, Brian,
no.
I understand Booth. I understand
a corner at 13. Get ready.
I understand Cooper Rush. I understand all this stuff, Bryan Broaddus.
Yeah.
But the Bills was whooping us last year. The 49ers been whooping us 2 years in a row, Bryan.
No, you're
Broaddus.
right.
The Lions,
you're right.
You know, we lose.
Is
games
that your
like
argument?
This.
Is that going to be when we show up in the court of Monday morning court of moving on from coaches?
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be your number one argument?
My number 1 and 2 argument is when you hire
my 1 or 2.
No, my 1 and 2. They both go together. When you hire a new coach, their job lives and dies by the expectations of the previous character. Okay?
Yeah.
So if your previous coach is Wade Phillips, all Jason Garrett got to do is be better than him. So if they'll quit on Wade, all right, cool. Jason, go to the playoffs and win a playoff game, and cool, bet. All right, Jason Garrett cannot win more than one playoff game. That's your new standard. So when we bring Mike McCarthy here, all right, Mike, we want to move on past the second round of the playoffs. Not just win a wild card, not just one and done, or not just get to the second round. We want to win a second round playoff game, and you have not done that. And my second argument to that, Bryan Broaddus, is we just can't beat good teams. We can't beat good teams. We get into the regular season, these games that always mean something. And look, I know you hurt and Cooper Rush is out there playing, but Tanner McKee was out there playing with damn Kenny Pickett, Bryan Broaddus. And my biggest argument when we go to coach fired court is, hey, man, we just can't beat those good teams. Like these important games versus these good teams, whatever the circumstance is, Dak healthy or not, CeeDee Lamb playing or not, Parsons playing or not, we've had a healthy team. And we just can't beat those kinds of teams, Brian. So that's why I'm ready to move on from Mike. One of multiple reasons.
I do not disagree with your points you're making there. I call that, and you've heard me say this, he is not a difference maker.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to have a difference maker in those games that you're talking about. You got to have a guy that's willing to be that guy. And he clearly isn't that guy, and as much as I want to believe that Jerry and Steven, I'm now looking forward to seeing if they have the stomach to go through a coaching search. That's what I'm looking forward to now. Not whether Mike McCarthy comes back or he leaves. I wonder if the Jones boys and Will McClay have the stomach to do an extensive coaching search. That'll tell me if they bring Mike McCarthy back, they didn't have the stomach.
Sure.
They didn't have the stomach. They did not want to go through that. They got comfortable with the guy. Mike is gonna get that team. He's gonna get them right there on the cusp of, man, their health is gonna be, and we can win on a short week, and we can do this, do that. But if Jerry, Steven, and Will bring him back, that told me a lot. They weren't willing to really do everything possible to change the direction of their team. That would scare me as a Cowboy fan.
And that's pretty much who they've been, Brian. Like, when you hear
why should I expect different is what you're telling me.
Sure.
You're like, hey, Brian, why should you expect different?
Yeah.
I was hopeful and let's see, it still could happen.
Sure.
I was hopeful initially that they had the stomach. I'll tell you where they burned me again. And this is going to sound terrible. And Cowboy fans out there they're listening to us right now are going to say, you're wrong about this. They didn't have the stomach to move on from the quarterback.
Sure.
Where they had an opportunity. They could have let this thing ride. Could have let it ride and said, you know what? We're going to change the direction of our franchise. Good or bad, we're going to change the direction. Didn't have the stomach for it. Yeah. You know, I'm starting to really, really, really believe they don't have the stomach for this. They don't have the stomach to be like Philadelphia or these other teams that have to make those decisions. You know, they're comfortable with the way things are. And you've heard my comfortable rant on 105.3 The Fan.
Yeah.
But when you're comfortable, man, your football team is never going to be that team that you want it to be. They're not going to be. I mean, look at some of the decisions that some of these other teams, the Minnesota Vikings, the Packers, Buffalo. Look at Buffalo. They told their best wide receiver, like, listen, you're a pain in the ass. You're gone. Yeah. You know, we're going to move on. You know, we trust our coaches. We trust our scouts. We trust our quarterback. It's a different team, you know, different team. So I'm very, very, very curious. I'm saying very a lot tonight. I apologize, folks. But I'm very curious if they have the stomach to do this. And like you've pointed out to me so astutely, Brian, they don't. They don't have the stomach for this. It takes just being just a Rick with a P to do this.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're willing to do that.
Brian, you know,
that's sad.
You know, some they'll do. Sometimes
I hope I'm wrong.
No, you know, something that they do with a lot of these coaching decisions, Brian, now that you mention it, instead of going out to find somebody, they'll just hire somebody from in-house.
Sure.
What do you think the odds are like Mike McCarthy gets fired and they just stay in-house? All right, Al Harris. Da da da. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. I know they like skins on the wall, man. I know they like experience and all that, but when you just said that, it makes sense. They don't go far away from what they're comfortable with.
Sure.
Even bringing Mike Zimmer back. I mean, he's been one of the brighter spots of what's been going on this year. But hey, Mike Zimmer, we know you, and we didn't fire Dan Quinn. He went to go get another job. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Brian, you might be onto something. You might be onto something with that one, man.
Let me ask you this,
please.
Would you consider, and please give me some latitude here, would you consider a guy like Jason Witten, and I say it this way, if in fact you had a Mike Zimmer coming back as the defensive coordinator, and maybe you find Mark Colombo comes back as the offensive line coach. You know, you find, you lean on the experience of Jason Witten in the league and guys he's been with and coaches he respects, and maybe somebody coming to work for him. Would a Jason Witten hire, leader of men, would that hire make sense if you had a Dan Campbell-like staff of an Aaron Glenn and a Ben Johnson and that guy?
I hate it, but let me give you a little bit of conversation about it. I do think that coordinators carry the head coach. I do believe that.
I like, and the offensive line coach, I think, does too.
If you think about Philadelphia, I don't think Sirianni's special at doing anything. But if he has Gannon and Shane, and then they go, and then you get two new coordinators, and then the Eagles look goofy, then you go get Kellen and you go get Vic.
Yeah.
You look different now. I do think that the head coach is just responsible for the messaging, right?
Yeah.
So if you're trying to sell to me that Jason Garrett's going to be the head coach, and Zimmer is going to be the DC, in which I think I'm more and more fine with every day. You really got to sell me on this offensive line coach. You really got to sell me on this offense coordinator. What's going to be the run scheme? Like, what's our philosophy now? You really got to sell me on that. But if I do think that Jason Witten, I think his job as a head coach would just be to motivate and to make sure that the machines.
There you go. Yeah. But it would be, you could tolerate it. And I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to promote it. I'm just throwing it out there.
Sure.
If he were to hire a staff where he got difference makers as coaches, and because we all respect Witten, in the as like no stone unturned guy, preparation, toughness, maybe that's comes down through the locker room, that part where he's on the coaches about, hey, let's make sure we've got this buttoned up. Don't let this thing go unturned. But to me, before I hire Mike Vrabel or anybody else, I want to know your coaches. Because Voch, if I do some extensive research and I really don't like your coaches because I feel you've hired a bunch of buddies, you're not getting a job. I don't care if you're Nick Saban. If you're going to hire a bunch of just buddies to coach, I don't know. No. I know that sounds really drastic, but you're not going to bring in coaches that are going to bring us down, that can't compete with the other coaches around the league, those difference maker coaches. I'm not gonna let you do that. You're going to have to convince me not only to hire you, but to hire your coaches. That's where I'm at.
As we mentioned all this, because I don't write nothing down, but we just talking. I'm just thinking about stuff. I don't know if you remember, but you remember there was this press conference that Jerry had, and John Kitna was just coming back.
Yeah,
and boy, I remember laughing at Jerry Jones about this, because I'm like, Jerry, what do you think is so good about John Kitna that you bring him in here? He was like, well, John Kitna is very privy to high school football and how things go in high school football. You remember Jerry Jones said that? And me and the YouTube characters was like, boy, what does high school got to do with this?
Oh, I know. There's no other, and I'm sorry, please continue. I'm thinking along here.
Nah, you could take that and respond to that. Like, do you think that Jerry has this thing about high school ball?
There's no way. I saw in my era of football, my era in the 80s, when I was at LSU, I saw Jerry Faust, who was coaching Cincinnati Moeller High School, one of the most successful high school programs in the country at the time. I saw Jerry Faust get the Notre Dame job. And that didn't end well.
Yeah.
That didn't end well. I'm saying this, I think the only guy, the experience that Jason Witten has or lacks as a coach, I think is pretty steep. His experience of how things work in a locker room and how to lead.
He knows that.
He knows all that.
That's
and
deep.
what are you trying to do with these guys? You're trying to get them to lead, and you hope like hell you have Aaron Glenn calling defenses for you. Where Witten could maybe help. And I'm sorry, I'm spending way too much time on Witten, but I'm trying to think about Jerry and Steven, like you just said it, they like familiarity.
Yeah.
They like familiarity. Could Jason Witten put together a staff that could carry the day for him and allow him to lead that locker room? So that's the question I would have. That's the big question I would have, because I think he could lead the locker room. I think he would have the respect of the players around him. And I think he would bring an air of toughness. He might not be as crazy as Dan Campbell biting off kneecaps, but I think he's got that same kind of mentality.
That edgy, run down the field with no helmet, tough.
Edgy.
Yeah.
But you're gonna need dudes around him. Maybe that young and old mix. You're gonna need maybe a former head coach. There's your Mike Zimmer.
Yeah.
you're going to need guys to be able to help you navigate, because he could be good. He could be really good but it's all about who he will want to hire. I'm not saying Jason Witten and then a bunch of coaches that I don't know, but he's going to need. I will say this: if they do make a coaching change, I do believe he'll get an interview. He might not get this job. But I bet you Jerry and Steven talk to him. I bet you they do. Isn't that crazy to think about, though?
Yeah.
But it's only because NFL Man of the Year, all decades. He's, you think about, all these things that he's done in his professional career.
Yeah.
More highly decorated than hell. Dan Campbell was a backup to him.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah. On his team.
I mean, and Dan Campbell, if it wasn't, if it wasn't for Tony Sperano, Dan Campbell didn't get a job. He throws a chair against the wall in an interview in Miami, and everybody's like, "Whoa, this guy's a psycho." And then he becomes an interim coach, and then everybody thinks, "Man, this guy's he's got something about him." But what really made the difference there? They got really good players. St. Brown, look, they trade for golf.
Yeah.
They get those runners. They figure out the receiver. They draft offensive linemen that are incredible. They take Aiden Hutchinson. They got better. This team got better. And if you really trusted Jason Witten, like Jason Witten could look into your eyes, and I think as a player, if you're sitting across from him at the combine, and then say, "This guy can't play. This guy, he doesn't have it. I can tell he doesn't have it."
Yeah.
That kind of evaluation. But if he could have, I would rather him than some retread dude.
Yeah. Marvin Lewis.
If you're Ron Rivera, I would rather take a chance on a guy like that than I would somebody that just, man, you got no juice.
Sure.
Got no juice. You can't, but anyway, I think this all goes back to, like we were talking about. We'll see if the Joneses have the stomach.
I'm going to ask you about this when we're done, because I know you're saying so much on camera right now, but me and you probably have a longer discussion about this. But yes, I think it's that point. Do they have the stomach? And
I don't know they do. I don't know they do.
If they fire Mike McCarthy, they probably want to bring in somebody real familiar. And
it could be.
Maybe on something. Hell, what happened today versus the Eagles, Brian? Saquon ran over everybody.
Yeah, man. But I'll tell you what, what do you have? 167 yards. I think total they had 175 yards rushing.
I'd have kept running. I'd have tried to break the record.
You know what? I was surprised they didn't.
Yeah, pulled them out.
I was surprised. I was surprised they didn't try and get him over 200.
Yeah.
And make it even more manageable. The Giants. He could get this in a half. He could get this in a quarter. He could break a long run and be right on it. I think today's game gave them hope that they could play him for a quarter or maybe a half and get this record.
Yeah.
But teams find your bad players.
That was Booth today. Andrew Booth today.
Good teams find your bad players.
Yeah.
They found Booth. Dallas tried to match. They tried to match Bland with Brown. Okay. Yeah. As a reception for a touchdown. Brown's going to do that to you. They could not handle Smith. And what I was trying to do earlier when, I know in the pregame show, they're like asking me, "Hey, how would you, I would throw Izzy out there, maybe put Izzy in the slot, and I would have put Lewis on the outside and just battled my ass off, knowing that I'm going to get a ton of crossing routes." Lewis is comfortable dealing with those routes.
Yeah.
My man had no shot today. Booth had no shot. And so turn over the ball. I was glad to see Rico Dowdle have some success. Rico Dowdle had some success the last time these two teams played.
Did Rico
unfortunately
did Rico run himself out of a Cowboy uniform, Brian, next year?
You know what? I mean, I know you and I have looked at probably 3 or 4 running backs. I think you've got a couple more than me in the draft. I'll tell you what, but teams having some success bringing in veteran backs.
Sure.
Like they did last year. Like you look at the top 5 running backs in the league, they all seem to be guys that were signed off the street. Yeah. And Rico Dowdle, the one thing Rico Dowdle is really good at is showing toughness inside between the tackles, catching the football. He's got some blitz pick up to him. It's his game. He's got some complete back traits to him. Might have kind of got himself a bigger payday. You look at that, the value of players, what the over the cap does. Like a $12 million player, the way he plays. In that way last week against Tampa, they had a hard time running the ball. It was just going to be tough. But, against a pretty good defense today, one of the best defenses in the league, you had success running the football. And I think that Rico Dowdle, if I'm watching tape, I'm on another team, and I'm thinking, man, we've got a guy, we've got some money, we can maybe get a complimentary back that could do some things and could be, you can hand him the ball a bunch and you're going to get positive yards, successful runs, those 4+ yard runs. You could do far worse than Rico Dowdle. Geez, I mean, him behind. Geez, look at what Turpin did running the couple of times he got to run. I mean, that ball hits there quick.
It took us to week 16, Brian, but yeah, Turpin in the backfield.
Think about having a back that's bigger than Turpin, that's that quick or that fast, and running the ball that way. Turpin's a damn 12-yard to carry back.
Yeah.
So, to your question, yeah, if I was watching tape on another team and I had some money, I'd consider this guy. I'd absolutely. He's great in the locker room too. After the game, he was very complimentary of the line, the way they played. Yeah. Grateful, blessed. Unfortunately, we didn't get the win today. Sure. Very, very humble player. Yeah. And so, you know what? I'm all for guys like that. I'm not for Cooper Rush, even though he played well last week. We'll see how that plays. I'm looking forward to seeing how they played inside with Hoffman at guard, BB coming back. I'm interested to see how that all shook out. Didn't get the pressure you got the last time you met these guys 7 weeks ago. You weren't able to get that. You weren't able to get enough. You weren't able to generate enough pressure like you did on Hurts and Overshone had a part of that. Your double A gap mug looks, probably didn't do as good as they did before. So yeah, it was, but they found your weakness in the secondary. And when they knew they had to throw the ball, that's the direction that they went. So good for him. Good coaches do that. Find your weakest player and then go after that guy. And that they don't have a really good, they got to the point where they put Pride in there, who's just off the practice squad.
I didn't even know he was on the team, bro.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I remember him from Notre Dame, but I didn't even know he was on the team, bro.
Yeah, he was out there. They threw him out there. And to the kid's credit, he actually got in a fight and got kicked out of the game. Good for him.
That's a way to go
Showed some pride.
Yeah, showed some toughness.
Some pride. But yeah, this is and mercifully, this thing's about to end.
Yeah,
and then we can start to work on the draft, and we'll see if Jerry and them have the stomach to make the changes. And they're going to lose a lot of guys. They got to determine though, of the guys they can sign, can they bring back Lewis, Osa, Golston, somebody like that? They're going to have to make some major league decisions. But please don't fall in love with your roster. It is what it is. Try and do the best you can with your draft, and maybe you need to think about your coaching situation really, really extensively coming up.
Brian, we're going to watch this film with a bad attitude and wish that we could talk about some draft. We'll talk about draft all week. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we will. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm excited. Like I said, I was on Cowboys break. That's my little morning job, and we were talking about the draft show. Really excited about having you on, and I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to the team building questions, the discussions about running backs and win, and wide receivers win, and cornerbacks win, and So that's this. When this ends, though, we're going to be ready to go, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, Bryan has me building a board for the first time in YouTube life, so I'll be sharing my board with you guys.
It's cool. You put your board up, you let everybody see your board. But that's a great thing. As long as people do the work, you have an opinion on players. As long as you're watching the tape, as long as you're putting together boards, as long as you're doing all that, man, I'll always listen to your opinion. It's the persons that just throw S up against the wall and haven't looked at anything, haven't worked on it. Those are the ones I have the most problems with. But I know you, my friend, you will have this thing wired.
That means a lot to me, Bryan Broaddus. Appreciate you, sir. We're going to watch this goofy little Eagle game first before we watch him draft. Bryan is really proud of his John Madden patch. So y'all be sure to show love to Bryan in the comments about his John Madden patch that he's super excited about. Look at that.
I wish my face was that.
Oh,
John Madden face.
That's going to be worth thousands. It's going to be in the thumbnail. Watch. I'm going to do it just like that in the thumbnail. Hey, y'all be sure to follow me on Twitter. I probably ain't going to be talking about nothing on Twitter till New Year's because I'm going to be, focused on this draft.
You ready to do football stuff? You got all this holiday in out of you? You ready to go?
Bryan, let me tell you something. I said this at the end of my post-game show. I said I'm probably going to be working for New Year's because Bryan will shame me if I don't. So we'll be working.
Right, we're going to be working for New Year's. Get ready, bro. Get ready. Get ready.
So we going to be working for New Year's, man.
I'll let you off for Christmas, but I ain't letting you off for New Year's.
Bryan don't care about nothing, so we going to be doing that.
I don't care.
And y'all tap into Bryan Broaddus on social media.
Love you, man. Good to have you back. Let's do this again sometime. Tomorrow night, what do you say?
Tomorrow night we'll run it. And, hey, we'll catch y'all later. Y'all hold it down for the Doski Woski. We'll see you. Crown.